What's up, hockey fans? Welcome to another episode of Pod Snipe Celly. My name is Dan Bradley. Alongside me tonight, Joel Fernino. Joel, how you doing, buddy?
I am doing fantastic. How you doing, Dan?
Doing okay here. Wasn't working until 11 o'clock at night.
I'm gonna do that tonight.
Oh, buddy, I'm sorry.
No, that's by choice. The couple nights previously were like, oh crap, I have to. This one's more by choice. I don't mind sometimes. While I still have the quote college energy of staying up late to do work, I'm going to utilize it until it's because it's probably not going to. I turned 30 in a month, man. Wait,
2 months.
2 months. Well, less than 2 months.
It's like 7 weeks.
It's something like that. But you know what? Who's counting?
I am.
Okay, that's fine. So I'm gonna utilize it, But that doesn't stop me from hopping on here. Welcome to the show, everybody. You didn't actually have that big of a break between seeing us between last week and this week, since we had our trade deadline show right on Friday, which I would be remiss if I didn't mention. We had a record for live viewership at the during the live show. It capped out at about 53.
We averaged 59 viewers for the entirety of that, basically the entirety of that screen.
Okay.
Yeah. So, fantastic numbers.
And then it dropped down to around 53, and it never dropped below 50 though.
But it was pretty sweet. In looking at our metrics for the show, that was our by far our most viewed live show that we've done so far. Let's see if we can't break that number tonight.
Absolutely. And one of our guys who was joining us during the show, Joey's son is going to his first Hawks game on Sunday.
Awesome.
Let's go. And you get to go see our baby boy in action.
Yeah,
your baby boy gets to go
don't
see
call
our
him R. He's not my baby boy. I can't claim him.
Our Joey and Chicago's baby boy.
There you go.
Yeah. The people that were calling for him to pull a Lindros. It's a rough day for them when he said playing here is very special. It's a real rough day for them.
He would have said that wherever he was playing.
Thoughts and prayers to the people who hoped he'd pull a Lindros.
Yeah.
I told you I was going to start the show on that. Our boy had a 5-point night last night. He is the first 18-year-old to put up a 5-point game since 2011. I can't remember who it was.
Oh boy, who would have been 18 in 2011? Could that have been Taylor Hall? That would have been about right on the timing.
Probably. We'll look that up. But yeah, man, that was fun. 8 points in the last 2 games. Fishbowl Bedard is a force to be reckoned with.
Oh, you know what? I was almost right. I was that close.
It was another Oilers first overall pick. It was
another Oiler. It was Ryan Nugent-Hopkins.
Damn it, I was going to guess. Except I was going to guess Nail Yakupov, so never mind.
Oh, good thing you didn't guess. Yeah, I don't think Yakupov had 5 points in his entire. No, he did. He definitely had 5 points in his career.
It's like he wasn't a bust. He wasn't a bust automatically. He became a bust.
Busted pretty quick. He definitely had more than 5 points in his career, but I would be surprised if he had ever done 5 points in a game.
And I actually had the chart up, and I could have saw that it was Ryan Nugent-Hopkins in 2011, and before him, it was Ilya Kovalchuk in 2002.
Ooh, that's a good pull.
Then Dale Hawerchuk in 1982, and then Jack Hamilton in 1943. So yeah, he's among some pretty big deal names.
I just want to point out, like, the timeline of gaps between those 5-point games as well is like it's shrinking.
Oh, of course. And actually, I'm kind of surprised that Nuge was the last one to do it, realistically.
Well, I mean, the other thing is how many guys are still 18 when they are making their NHL debut. It's not super common. So your pool of players to begin with is smaller inherently.
No, but you got some pretty hyped up players in that time frame that did start when they were 18. Connor McDavid,
Crosby.
Crosby was prior to 2011. Same thing with Ovechkin. I'm surprised neither of them had one of those during their rookie year. But and hey, as I've said before, man, he's doing this on a team of nothing. Oh God, it's so much fun. And that's a good segue into mentioning what we're going to be talking about tonight is seeing how our beginning of the season predictions and takes and call outs are shaping up as we approach about 1 month. Like, I think exactly 1 month left in the season, if I'm not mistaken.
1 month and 5 days.
Okay.
April 18th is the final day of the regular season.
So 1 month left in the regular season.
We just had somebody pointed out in our fantasy hockey league that the championship match round was only set for 5 days because the league was set to end that week. So we had to look it up and bump things back. That's the Fantrax league that
the one
you and I were in last year. Yeah. That league, by the way, like, thank goodness this was just joking, but I wanted to bring this up to you. We had a trade in that league, like right before the deadline.
Mm-hmm.
Connor Bedard
for
Dennis Hill to be 1-for-1. Now the trade was naturally vetoed, and the guy.
Okay. I was like,
it's one of those joke trades that like didn't actually go through, but. For like 2 seconds, we looked down our phone. We're like, "Whoa, he traded Bedard for who?" And that was it. We were like, "Okay, yeah, this guy's bugging."
I was gonna say, like, what's going on?
This is the guy who wanted attention for the the last waning minutes of the trade deadline and have it be the last deal that got accepted. Just messing, but it was funny. It wasn't me, by the way. I don't have Bedard in that league, and I don't have Hill to be either.
Hey, it's okay. I'm in a fantasy league where I've seen some weird trades.
Yeah.
Someone wanted Bedard from me because I have Bedard in that league too, and I think it was like Bedard for. Oh my God! I don't want to waste any more time because I don't want to like look it up, but it was something.
This the league where a certain Red Wings goaltender went first overall?
Yes, it was.
That's what I thought. Yeah, let's move into things here.
Yeah, let's see, because I'm pretty sure the nice tease for everybody is that you and I were very wrong.
we did a lot better in the West than we did in the East. That's kind of our starting point here. We both had Toronto winning the Atlantic Division. We were both pretty bullish on Buffalo. I had them finishing third in the division. You had them fourth. Big swing and a miss there. We both had Tampa Bay, who is still in the playoff mix, but they're running out of daylight to try and get ahead of some of these teams in the standings and to try and bump Boston out of there. It's not going to happen at this point. Your top four, as you can see on the screen, Florida, Boston, Toronto, and Tampa Bay in that order. This is probably, I think it's the second year in a row where we were convinced that Boston was going to fall off.
Yep.
Boston has not fallen off.
One of these years, I'm going to be right. One of these years.
One of these years.
Toronto, Florida,
oh, no. Hey. We finally got City Life Project joining the show, saying what's up. Miss you too, buddy. Hope you're doing well, and we're going to get you back on the show here at some point. Let's talk about that.
Is this somebody I can? Have I met him? Have I met City Life Project? Can I argue with this?
You have. He's been on the show in your absence. I don't know if I'm allowed to say his name on the show, but yeah, but you know who it is. Okay.
Oh,
here we go. Yeah, it's Isha. Okay, we can say it. It's Isha.
Okay, this makes sense.
Perfect.
Yes.
Isha, miss you, dude. Very much enjoy listening to you and Hoppy Soda Pop.
I'm glad you're listening now too, because I wanted to mention this on Twitter at some point. Isha and I have almost become similar on our personal Twitters. He's big into like the fight realm, the UFC,
combat sports junkie.
Yeah, combat sports junkie, where I have actually been taking up a similar mantle of I'm a WWE junkie. So professional wrestling, mostly WWE. I don't really care for AEW. I don't like hate on their fans. I just don't really like it that much. But like I've like anytime he tweets something like that, and then I'll see him side by side. I'm like, we're almost like he has way more followers than I do, obviously, but it's just kind of funny.
Yeah,
you motivated me, Isha. You motivated me when I got right back into wrestling.
He's been building a combat sports following on YouTube as well. So go check out his channel there too.
Oh yeah.
Isha, we love you, man.
Hey, it kind of makes sense, WWE and UFC are owned by the same company, But Dan, we were kind of right here.
So Joel, looking at this, Buffalo to me is the clear disappointment of the division based on what we were expecting from them this season. But to our credit, where we pointed out, like, hey, if there's one thing that could hold the Sabres back, goaltending has been shoddy. I'm
gonna make fun of one of your takes later on in the show from that side of things too.
Yeah, and we can get into that.
But yeah, I mean, but realistically, outside of the Buffalo thing, we're pretty much close.
We got 3 of the 4.
Yeah, but
I don't think we. It's a surprise to see. It was a surprise, at least for me, to see Florida respond as strongly as they did after their cup run. It seemed like last year it was you get in on the last day of the playoffs. You were down 3-1 in the first round of Boston. You went to the cup finals. Entirely different situation than Montreal a couple of years ago when they had their fluke run. Like, we knew Florida would be good. I didn't see them as a threat to go win the division again this year. Good.
No, I mean, I figured they'd be good. I just didn't expect them to be this good. And hell, I'm gonna admit it right here. Mark hasn't tuned in yet, our buddy, but Boston is also throwing me for a huge loop. I figured, yes, they do every year. I figured if I was gonna be wrong, though, or I guess both of us were gonna be wrong about Boston, it would have been at least close. Like, maybe like, oh, they're not in the top 3, but they're like bubble wild card. Like, they're trying, they're in, they're out, they're in. Now they're firmly in the wild card, but like around that area. I didn't expect them to just come right back and just be 3 points out of the number 1 seed, and also 3 points out of the number 1 seed in the entire league.
I'm gonna interrupt you for 2 seconds here, Isha. Before you go. I want to ask Joel this question because our resident Vancouver Canucks fan, and this is a moderate spoiler for later in the show. Joel, what team were we more wrong on, Boston or the Vancouver Canucks?
Ooh, that's tough.
In making our season predictions, who were we more wrong about?
I would probably say Vancouver.
I think Vancouver as well. There we go. I got you to stick around for just another minute here.
That's fine. We appreciate you coming in and saying hi.
But to our credit, Isha also did not have the Canucks making the playoffs. He is absolutely loving this season. Isha, I wish I could have watched the 10-7 Wild Canucks game with you just for the chaos that was that game.
I'm happy I didn't watch any game that the Hawks played against the Canucks.
Yeah, they've been running up some numbers here, so we'll give the Canucks some love later in the show. Isha, we're on demand too, so you can come check us out later on. Do what you got to do. But
Spotify and Apple Podcasts
definitely are going to collab with you again soon. Here, we'll absolutely make that happen. I think, Joel, looking at this division, we gave Buffalo a bit of a hard time. I'm really surprised that the Ottawa Senators have been as bad as they are this year. In fact, that they are below Montreal in the standings is a big surprise.
Hot take. I'm not that surprised.
I knew they weren't going to be good. Like, they weren't going to be a threat to make the playoffs. I did not anticipate them being like losing just the degree to which they have, where they're last in the division. They have scored more goals than the 2 teams ahead of them. Mm-hmm. They've allowed fewer goals than one of the teams ahead of them, but they find the most impossible ways to lose games and snatch defeat from the jaws of victory.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you. I mean, I feel like part of it too is look at their decor, look at what they lost there, and then also their goaltending has been sub 90.
Putrid.
Both, yeah.
Putrid is an okay word to use.
When you're rolling Jonas Korpisalo and Anton Forsberg out there, yeah, you're gonna have a bad time.
Well, and not only that, but an 889 save percentage.
I'm throwing this up there. Chelsea Tagger gives me PTSD. I love that.
They played it for some of the goals during the state tournament, and I wanted to barf.
Hell yeah. He sure remembers that hat trick in 2009. 2009.
He also remembers Chris Campoli's turnover.
Okay, whatever.
Isha, I'm coming to your defense here, buddy. I needed to get one.
You know what? We don't talk about him. We don't talk about Campoli. Joey, back me up here.
It doesn't quite roll off the tongue the same way as we don't talk about Bruno, but it's up there.
It's true. Getting revenge. Every team that we ran through in the 2010s is getting revenge on us now.
Yep. The Kings are getting their revenge. The Canucks are getting their revenge.
The Kings didn't need revenge.
The Wild are not really getting revenge.
No, you're not.
No, it was a 2-1 game the last time we played.
Plus, apparently, the only thing I need to say, apparently, this isn't even a good clapback, but half your fan base gets triggered all when I just say the word Bedard.
Have you been on Twitter today at all?
Yeah, why?
Have you been following Russo and Laz going at it over Bedard and Faber?
Oh, Jesus.
Yep.
Do we need to have another drop the gloves segment?
No.
Are you sure?
We don't.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure we don't.
What did I say at the beginning of the show? 8 points in the last 2 games.
It's being handled on Twitter, and I am no longer on Twitter, so I don't have to worry about it. But yeah, Ottawa, Korpisalo, 889 save percentage, 332 goals against, and those are both bests of the 3 goalies who have played this season. Yeah. Forsberg is 888 and a 329, so I guess slightly better goals against for Forsberg. And then Mats Sjogard, 859 save percentage, 405 goals against.
I mean, there's your problem.
Mm-hmm. And then that team had to retain salary and get Tarasenko to waive his no-move clause, because why are you signing a guy, especially a guy like Tarasenko, on a 1-year deal and including a no-trade clause in that deal? Make it make sense.
I cannot. And no wonder he left. Mm-hmm. So, how'd our Metro division do, Dan?
Our Metro looked, I would say, maybe even a little worse than our Atlantic, because we did have pretty much, we had 3 of the top 4 in our list.
We had the correct state for one of them.
we absolutely whiffed on, and you can argue the Jack Hughes injury was big.
Oh, that's
it massive. Was not so big that the Devils should be as bad as they are. Well, and there have been more issues than that. This is a roster that has so thoroughly underperformed that going out and getting Capo Kakinen from the San Jose Sharks at the trade deadline actually improved your goaltending numbers.
I'm going to firmly die on the hill. I don't care who wants to argue. In fact, I'd love to argue. Had the Devils just nutted up, I'm taking injuries out of it. We talked about it. I know they were plagued with injuries, not just Jack Hughes. Obviously, Dougie Hamilton is a huge loss amongst other injuries as well. But they should have nutted up at the beginning of the season or even in the off season. And instead of just pulling, in my opinion, they pulled a Bears organization and going, insert X name here is our quarterback. They did the same thing with Vita Vanacek is our goaltender. No, No, you should not have done that. You should have gone out and you should have traded for Jacob Markstrom. I will die on that hill, or John Gibson. I will die on that hill that if they should have traded for one of those two names I just mentioned. I'm not saying it would have necessarily significantly changed their current fortunes as they sit how many points out of a wild card spot right now? What's math? Math. What is math? 6 points out of a wild card spot right now.
And I would 3-7-0 in their last 10.
Exactly.
Really kind of put the proverbial nail in the coffin there.
Exactly. To me, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it would have changed significantly, and it might not have even made us correct about them being in the top 3. And hell, me saying that they were tippy top. But I would imagine doing that would have at least had you firmly in the wild card race. And they are in the wild card race. I'm not saying they're not. 6 points isn't that bad, but I'm saying they would be leading the wild card race right now.
I asked earlier who we were more wrong about, Vancouver or Boston. I'm going to compete with Vancouver here and say who were we more wrong about, Vancouver or Philly? Because what the Flyers have done this season
Philly
stunned everybody. We both had them picked to finish dead last. We were anticipating...
I said they were going to be in the race for Macklin Celebrini. I think I said that exact quote.
We both said bottom 5 team. We both said possible top 3 finish at the bottom of the standings for the Flyers.
I think we had said it was going to be between us, the Sharks. Actually, no, I didn't even say this because I didn't think we were going to be dead last. It was going to be between the Sharks, the Flyers. Oh, there was a third team in there.
Ducks were in there. Columbus might have been in there, depending on.
No, but there were only like 2 teams where I firmly said they're getting Macklin Celebrini, and the Flyers were one of them. And I think it was the Sharks were the other one. Actually,
Sharks were for sure the other.
We knew
the Sharks were going to be bad.
Yeah, there was a third.
Flyers,
and I can't remember.
Flyers have. They've overperformed relative to expectations. I don't know if they've overperformed relative to their talent level. So I don't quite want to go that far, but I do want to say, compared to where we thought they would be, they have more than doubled where we thought they would be points-wise in the standings at this point in the season.
Which is still interesting, then, why they would trade Sean Walker. I'm wondering if even they're like, what the hell's happening? Mm-hmm. This wasn't supposed to happen this season.
Right. Our rebuild is going too well ahead of expectations.
Too fast.
Temper it back a little bit. Sam Ersson, who's been spectacular in net. You sent over a thing today that was talking about a poll on Calder Trophy.
It's like a
pick your votes for like your top 5. And Sam Ersson was getting some votes there, which is awesome. He's been really, really good in net for the Flyers.
Yeah.
Especially since a certain other goalie left a pretty big hole in the goaltending pipeline earlier this season. Not going to go into that, but Sam Ersson has played well. The Flyers, would I pick them in a playoff series? No. Would I pick them to win a game or two? Certainly win at least one in Philly.
Yeah, I'm picking them still as a first round exit, even though we were very dead wrong about their performance. But a Torts coached team is a hard coached team, and it's I guess that's probably the only thing that's not surprising me, or that's kind of keeping me from just being absolutely blown away. Like, all right, like Torts is a damn good coach, old school or not. He's a damn good coach. He's probably arguably one of the only true old school coaches left that can actually adapt to the game today and the players today and make it work.
Yeah, he doesn't like the flashy stuff. He doesn't like your lacrosse style goals. Like, he's made a point of that. But as far as maximizing the talent level of the players that he has with him, if guys buy into what Torts is doing, I mean, you see what happens.
Which is hard to not buy into, honestly. But that's why
I love him.
That's why, like, I make fun of mostly anyone, media or whoever, that doesn't like the flashy stuff, like the lacrosse or the fun, or like Cellies in general. Like I always boomer, get off my lawn. But him, the respect level is so there where I'm just like, you know what? That's fine. You can say it. It's fine.
And we've said it before on the show.
He backs it up.
He is the perfect coach for Philly. Like he's not going to get, the same fit. If he was coaching the Blackhawks this year, like, yeah, the Blackhawks might be a few points better in the standings, but like it's just not necessarily a great fit.
No.
Torts like almost just embodies Philadelphia as a city.
Well, and the same could be said when he was in New York.
Yeah.
He embodies that gritty kind of East Coast.
I see what you did there.
I'm gonna act like I meant to do that.
There you go.
I totally meant for that pun to land like that. But yeah, I mean, look, we're gonna get partial credit because we chose the correct state.
We did.
We just had the wrong team. We had the wrong city.
Pittsburgh, you let us down. And I mean, at this point, yeah, they're technically close, if you will. They're 7 points back of the Islanders. 7 points back with 18, it looks like, to play. It's still attainable.
Yeah.
But this season has gone absolutely pear-shaped for the Penguins.
Oh, yeah. And I don't know, just looking at the wild card situation in the East, the fact that the top three teams, and I say top three because there's a tie for the second spot between the Islanders and the Red Wings, and then above them only 2 points is Tampa. Those are three teams that, I'm sorry, Washington, Buffalo, New Jersey, Pittsburgh, and then going back to any of those teams, I don't think any of them can jump any of those three teams right now.
If you had told me at the beginning of the year that the Minnesota Wild would have more points down the home stretch of the season by a reasonably large margin over the Devils, the Penguins, and the Sabres, I would have thought, holy crap, the Wild are cup bound. That's what I would have expected based on our expectations for those teams.
John Hines showed that he's got the biggest nuts in the league.
Oh, God. We're going to talk about that when we get to the Central Division. Let's move into the Pacific.
Pacific, I got you.
Keep things moving. In this division, again, yes, we whiffed on Vancouver. We were pretty much right there with the others, the usual suspects of Edmonton, Vegas, and the Kings. Kings not quite going to be the President's Trophy winning team that I thought they might be, but they have looked good. And however that first round playoff series shakes out, Edmonton, Kings, Vegas, two of those three are going against each other in the first round. And however that shakes out, that series is going 7 games.
The West has shaped up. Like, we were making, I mean, how many times have we said, like, look, the cup runs through the East lately, except for last year, obviously, but like the East.
Well, the last 2 years, because you had Colorado right before that.
Yeah. But I guess, like we were saying, the strength of, strength of teams, the amount of strong teams you had were really weighing heavily on the East. No one would argue that.
Right. So you're saying the East teams would beat up on each other.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
Easier for the Western to win.
Right. Exactly. Where, like, we looked in the West before the season started and we were like, yeah, Vegas obviously will be there. Dallas will be there. Colorado will be there. I actually was very wrong about Winnipeg. I didn't expect them to be this good.
I had Winnipeg in my top 4 and thought they would be neck and neck with Minnesota, but they have far and away been the better team over the Wild this year.
You didn't have Winnipeg in your top 4.
Yes, I did.
Oh, we're not. I'm sorry. We're in the Pacific. Yeah. I don't know. It's for me too. I'm a little surprised with Seattle, but I guess I really shouldn't be. They're they're kind of all over the place. I don't know.
Yeah, Seattle, it kind of came back to earth a little bit here this season. Had a solid run in the playoffs last year, but just haven't been able to figure out the goaltending situation, which was something that I think last year, especially come playoff times, we saw a lot of overperformance from Philip Grubauer down the stretch, and not having a great answer for your goaltending situation other than just, hope that he's able to stay hot. Not the best situation for Seattle to be in. Looking at things for where they could go next year, Joey Decourt has been pretty solid between the pipes. They still got Grubauer with a no trade clause for 3 more seasons at just under $6 million for a cap hit.
Yeah.
That's going to be tough.
Yeah, that's going to be kind of tough for them to figure out. I want to bring up, while we're on the Pacific, how the beginning of the season, my whole Edmonton being at the top of their division, being near the top of the league, and also winning the cup looked like it was on life support. And now, as we sit here, it's looking a hell of a lot better. It took them a little bit.
Regular season for show, postseason for dough.
Yeah, but the problem is they're not a cup-winning team, nor were they a cup runner-up team. So it's not like they're like, all right, let's just coast to the playoffs. Like, how many times have we said their defense still has holes. Their goaltending is still sus. Like, it's
Stuart Skinner has really figured it out, and they will go as far as Stuart Skinner can carry them. Because yes, we know McDavid and Draisaitl; those guys are going to put up points. We know that much. It's, can Stuart Skinner keep it to maximum 2 goals against tonight?
Mateo, jump it in, buddy. They might not make it in. Vegas is on life support. I would agree with you, but the Wild are still 6 points behind them. So
there is a considerable gap, and I would also argue that there's a considerable talent gap between Minnesota and Vegas,
despite their injuries. Yeah, it's fair. Also, Mateo chiming in with the jokes. Hey, real quick. Actually, we'll touch on it when we get to the Central. We're about to get there. So, so I'm just happy that they're still. I almost should have. It's almost like the stock market. I should have doubled down on my Stanley Cup Edmonton ticket and bet just a tiny amount, because at one point it looked like they weren't even gonna sniff the playoffs.
Yeah, they going through the injury stretch, but then they seriously weaponized the trade deadline, made the absolute best of things there. Vegas is 5th as of today in the cup odds. With
what are they still? What are they?
They're plus 900. And believe it or not, they've actually crept.
I was talking about Edmonton.
Oh, Edmonton. Edmonton is plus 750, tied for second best.
And I'm assuming around Christmas or Thanksgiving, they were plus 1,800 or something.
They were certainly further behind than where they're at now.
Yeah. I'm riding with it, man. I picked, we'll talk about that too, those picks, but I'm riding with it. I am not going to change my mind.
Central Division.
Our division.
The division that we theoretically knew the best.
Theoretically.
Look,
I'm going to jump in right away and say, I nailed, I didn't nail. Well, I kind of nailed Colorado. They're tied for second. And that's recent. They were in second. Winnipeg clearly picked it up. So Dallas was a home run. That was easy.
Difference right now is Colorado has played 2 more games, but they do have the same number of wins. So there's a tiebreaker.
I nailed Nashville so far as we sit today.
You had Nashville right. I had Winnipeg right. And
I'm sorry.
Minnesota, the biggest disappointment in the division.
And that's an understatement. Well, until the last 10 games, they were sitting in a spot where I was I was legitimately floored. Jokes aside, division rivalry aside, all the chirps we throw at each other's teams aside, I legit was shocked that they were swimming around with us for a while in the division division standings. Like it was baffling.
Dean Evison fired. 15 million dead cap.
Yep.
Embarrassing loss at home on Hockey Day, Minnesota to the Anaheim Ducks in a game in which you had a lead in the third period. You're sellers at the trade deadline. And then you go on a win streak and decide to get within 6 points of a wild card spot. This team is so frustrating. Like, to me, it's like it's an identity issue at this point. This team doesn't know what it wants to be. And like 15 million dead cap this year and next year, nobody's going to blame you if you are not a playoff team in those years. But the fact that they are so leaned into, yes, we are a playoff team, even with this dead cap, in some ways it's holding the organization back.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, what would you do right now? I mean, is there anything you could blow up to blow things up?
I mean, they certainly tried to free up some roster spots. They moved Pat Maroon, they moved Brandon Duhaime, they moved Connor Dewar.
That's not blowing things up.
Well, but here's the thing though, because like obviously you're not trading Kaprizov, you're not trading Eriksson Ek, you're not trading Boldy. The problem is though, you have these young that are going to be coming through the ranks this year, next year, year after. Those guys need playing time, but they've handcuffed the roster with extensions for Pro and Marcus Johansson. So those guys are still getting consistent top 9 minutes. And then you have guys who Adam Beckman, like there's no reason Beckman shouldn't be playing every game the rest of the season. Just because you have to see what you have in him. Is he going to be a guy once your compete window opens back up? But they can't do that right now.
Right. And that's what I mean by blow it up. Right. Like you are middling, and trust me, I've seen that in some of our teams here. The Bulls are currently that.
You've seen it in the Wild for the last decade.
Well,
the Wild have been spectacularly average for the last decade.
Well, now 2014. Yeah, all right. Okay, fair. I was gonna say, like there were of the three times we knocked you out of the playoffs in the 2010s, only one of those times was I really like, only one of those times was I like, oh yeah, it's the Wild, we should destroy them, and we did. We beat you in 5 in 2013. 2014, I was very worried about you. And 2015, I was really worried about you.
Yeah.
So, like I said, 2014 and 15, I was pretty nervous going in. I had faith, and I felt like we could do it, but it was going to be tough, like 7-game series. One of them,
but again, not good enough to do anything past the first round of the playoffs. And
I was the first one to text you too when we swept you in 2015. I was like, I did not see that coming. I don't even think I sent the broom emoji because I was like, where the hell did this come from?
I distinctly remember you not being one of the few people to send a broom.
Yeah, because I was like, no, like this is going to be a tough series. No. And like the games were tough, but we found a way every time. And I was like, holy shit, we swept you. So my point being, yes, you moved some pieces. You made a little bit of roster space, but I'm saying when you're middling like this, you got to choose a lane.
Yeah, but that's the problem. They waited until the trade deadline to pick a lane. And then not only that, but then after they were like, okay, we're going to move these pieces out, bring the young guys in. That's the end of it.
Mark, I've never been referred to as sexy. I've definitely been referred to as a bastard.
Oh, you have on this show before. By Mark.
Have I?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, by Mark. That's true. It's the beard, isn't it? It's the beard.
It's always the beard.
It's always the beard.
But yeah,
I am a certified good guy. You're right.
They decide that they're going to move these guys out, and then they don't play Beckman. They pull him out of the lineup for Marcus Johansson, and they start winning again. Like it doesn't make sense.
It's
like going back to the Hines thing the other night where he, pulled the goalie in overtime.
That was so cool.
I knew the rule, and I said to Michelle, this game is about to end in the weirdest fashion. Because either one, the Wild are going to score the goal and everybody's going to praise John Hines for having the stones to do it, or Nashville is going to score, the Wild are going to lose the point, and the Wild are going to be a meme for a long time.
Which I learned something that day. I didn't know that was a rule.
I did, but only because that came up on a quiz when I was going to school for broadcasting. Like so much of it
trivia
for
crack?
Me was what?
Trivia crack? Was that the quiz?
No.
Remember that game?
No, I do remember that. But one of the things was like studying some of the obscure rules, and there was like a pop quiz on obscure sports rules.
No,
and
that's fair.
That was
Mark,
one that came up.
I'll answer your question in a second, but yeah, no, I don't know, man. I'm just actually, it's really not even old school. It's just because I have seen it. I've seen it work. I'm living one right now. Like you gotta pick a lane.
Yeah, you have to.
I was not on board with doing this, but I'm willing to see the forest and the trees and realize like maybe Taves and Kane should have been traded a little sooner than they were, and Taves wasn't even traded. You can't foresee the medical issues he had, but like, that's kind of why like we didn't pick a lane early enough, but we still did pick a lane in the window where we could have, but we could have maximized it. We still picked the lane. Kyle Davidson picked the lane and just nuked everything. DeBrincat gone, Doc gone, Kane gone, Taves not resigning gone, Duncan Keith gone, Seabrook retired or contract. Like it that's what I mean by blow it up. And yes, you're right. Obviously, why the hell would you trade Kaprizov? You would never trade a Boldy, a Rossi, a Faber. Like you wouldn't do that. The only thing though is if you really, there's nobody else on your team that would really warrant, maybe other than Eck, you could blowing it up legitimately, other than Kaprizov.
Right. And the problem is like Eck is a key piece of what's going to be the compete window when the Parise and Suter contracts are off the books.
Right.
And that's fine. But like you knew that these 2 years were going to be serious cap squeeze, but you decided we're going to compete in that window anyway, rather than use that time to, hey, let's call up some of our younger guys, get them this experience now when there isn't the same pressure to win, so that when the window is open, they're ready to go. They have the experience. They're not learning on the fly 2 years from now and pushing everything back. So, so that's my beef with it anyway.
It's fair. And you know what? I think oh no, I'm sorry. The cup will not come out of the Central, but
I still think it will.
Nah.
Let's talk about that. I've got things a little bit out of order here.
Some of these I don't think we need to cover. We talked about the Flyers being last. We talked about our wild card teams.
We casually touched on that, but we both had Calgary in. LOL. We can laugh at that one. We can laugh at you had Buffalo getting a playoff spot out. No, you had Buffalo as a wild card team. I had them outright.
Yes.
So that was a whiff.
Yeah.
President's Trophy. You still have an outside shot at getting this one because you took Dallas. They are still a couple points back, but at 89 points, the lead right now is 94. That's 5 points between now and the end of the season against Florida, who does have a game in hand. Still within striking distance. You could still land that one. I definitely can.
But who'd you have again? Oh yeah, no, that's not happening.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'm going to be right. I don't think Dallas catches Florida or Vancouver. Hell, I don't even think they catch Boston for that matter. But you're welcome, Mark. Oh, by the way, to answer Mark's question, Joel, how many places do you own in Chi-Town? Seems like you do.
Joel is a real estate mogul.
Yeah, right. I own many. I own a lot of land. I own some casinos. No, I'm joking. I literally have just turned my camera multiple times. I'm in the process of building a new PC. So like I'm changing things out, and hell, my video might be laggy and stuff because I don't have a video card anymore. I sold it. I'm running off of a CPU right now. If there's no computer nerds, they have no idea what I just said. But I just had to flip the thing around because I unplugged my other monitor from the PC. Now my main monitor's on the PC, so I had to move the camera. I don't own multiple places. Not yet.
He has many leather-bound books. His apartment smells of rich mahogany.
No, most of the books I have are all paper.
And a lot of them are on the Blackhawks Stanley Cup runs.
Makes
and
sense.
Also World War Z. I have a lot of whiskey, though.
Art Ross Trophy. We both said McDavid. He's on track. We both said over 137.5 points. He is on track for 135, and that's even after missing some games earlier this season.
Yeah.
There is still very much a chance that that McDavid could get there. And looking at the playoff picture and knowing, okay, Edmonton going to be scrapping for home ice with the Kings and the Golden Knights hot on their heels. You got to make sure that you're playing Game 7 at home, knowing that series is probably going 7 games. McDavid really going to rack up the points here down the stretch. I think that one's still in play.
I think it is still in play. It's going to be tough to top Kucherov. I'm sorry, McKinnon. Well, Kucherov and McKinnon, but
they're both up there. And
McKinnon took the race. From Kucherov had it. I thought he had it firmly in hand, and then McKinnon said, "Hold my beer."
Yeah.
So I mean, it's going to be tough to take it from either.
Actually,
of them.
I had that backwards. So he's 10 points behind McKinnon. He is 4 points behind Kucherov.
Yes, so he can catch Kucherov. It's going to be a tough test to catch McKinnon, though. Yeah, I mean,
there we go.
Yeah, it's definitely still in play. The 137.5, I'm gonna say is probably not going to happen.
It's going to be close.
He's not pace for 135, but how many here? Let's do
18 games left.
He's got 18 games left, right? And he's at 103 currently.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
But his current pace would get him to 32 points over those games.
103 points currently. He's got 18 games. I mean,
it came out to 32.4, so I rounded down on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man.
I think he's going to end the year on 138, and the sports books will celebrate for having set basically an immaculate line at that point,
right?
To be within half a point at the beginning of the season, and come out with that total. That's why Vegas always wins. Let's look at Norris Trophy. You had said Rasmus Dahlin, who, while somewhat in the mix on a bad Buffalo team, like, yes, he's putting up the points, but the defensive metrics just aren't quite there with the team. And I'm kind of in the opposite boat where Slavin's defensive metrics are there, but doesn't have the points. Can we safely hand this one to Quinn Hughes at this point? Or do you think Cale Makar?
No.
Does Makar still have a shot to get there?
I mean, he's close, at least in points. He's 5 points out, but what Quinn Hughes is doing for it's like Cale Makar, who did just put up a hat trick a week ago, I think it was. Cale Makar is doing Cale Makar things. We expect it. Quinn Hughes, obviously, we did expect him to be in this discussion. I think we both had him in the top 3.
Yeah, I have 5. I didn't think he would get up that high, but I knew he'd put up enough points to get some conversation.
I was between Hughes, Dahlin, and I think Makar, which is fair. But I ultimately went. I went for fun.
not for Norris. Not for Norris.
Yeah, I mean, maybe next year.
Maybe. Or he's certainly going to be a contender later in his career.
Yeah, absolutely. No, Dahlin's definitely not doing it, so I was very wrong there. But I think what Quinn Hughes is doing with Vancouver is more worthy of it. I know it's a points-based thing, and he's taking the points-based part of it while also doing it with a team that wasn't expected to be this good. Maybe they were expected to be better than you and I expected, but that's kind of a broad range because we did have them going pretty bad. I don't know if every expert out there had them being as bad as we were trying to say, but I don't think anyone had them being second in the league and 3 points out of the President's Trophy.
This is also your annual reminder that we need to add a Bobby Orr trophy for the best offensive defenseman and have the Norris trophy go to the best defensive defenseman. The same way we have an award for best defensive forward. We need to have an award for best offensive defenseman. And
I agree.
Best defenseman.
I'm not going to disagree with you. I agree. That'd be kind of fun.
Speaking of, Selke trophy. Joel, you went with Nico Hischier. I went with Joel Eriksson. There are not betting odds listed for this one, and I looked at a few different sports books today. The most recent sportsbook posting I could find was odds from February 1st.
I feel like it's too tough to call because there's not like there's so many different stats and measures that go into the Selke, whereas I mean pretty much every other trophy is points or obviously goalies is like save percentage and stuff like that. There's some cut and dry stats. The Selke is one of the only like kind of broad trophy.
Yeah, and with no Patrice Bergeron this year,
it's the Patrice Bergeron trophy, sir.
Is it probably going to go to
exactly?
Barkov?
You spelled Bergeron wrong.
Yeah,
Bergeron's so good he's going to win it in retirement.
Yeah, pretty much. It's probably going to go to Barkov. Anze Kopitar might be up there. Eriksson Ek might be up there.
Kopitar doing it at this age.
Sam Bennett might be up there as well. Saw his name floated around.
So I was very wrong. That's okay. This one's hard. I don't mind being wrong. Selke's tough.
It is. That's probably, I would say, the hardest one to predict now. It's not nearly as easy as it used to be.
Yeah, back in the 2010s, it was pretty much all right. Just choose between Patrice Bergeron, Jonathan Taves, or Anze Kopitar. Just choose between the three of them.
Well, and he's sure missing like 10 games. Like that hurt too. Like he's at 50 points in 54 games.
What? So Devils injuries? What?
Playing at a solid pace. But yeah, Devils injuries. Imagine that coming into play here. It's finally time.
The one that I was dead on about, which I mean, who wasn't, right? It was bet 100 to win like $1. So
yeah, it wasn't quite that steep, but it was pretty close. Yeah, you definitely the value of the return is not equal or greater than the value of the initial stake.
I mentioned it. I mentioned some of the progress at the beginning of the show. 8 points in the last 2 games. Fishbowl Connor Bedard is a monster. I kind of just want him to keep that helmet.
I had picked Devin Levi thinking that the Sabres as a team were going to be much better than they were. I also picked Levi thinking that his transition to the NHL might be a little bit smoother than what it was. And mostly I just wanted to try and take, okay, I know Joel's taking Bedard. Who is someone else that we can talk about that I thought might realistically have a shot to do it?
Mark's got a point. Why didn't you pick Brock Faber?
Well, because honestly, at this point, I didn't think Brock Faber was going to put up enough points for him to qualify. I knew he'd be good defensively. I did not think he was going to be 7th among all defensemen in minutes as a rookie. I did not think that he was going to be on pace to get at least 40 points as a rookie defenseman. I didn't think there was that much offensive upside to his game. But with the injury to Jared Spurgeon and what Brock Faber has done with Spurgeon out of the lineup, that's part of the reason why the Wild have been so bad is Jared Spurgeon being out. But everything else defensively, you take Jared Spurgeon off Minnesota Wild, that is a team that is looking at a top 5 pick. That's how bad things have been this year. Faber has had that big of a defensive impact I think that's also part of why Philip Gustafson's confidence is so low after the great year that he had last year, as bad as things were defensively in front of him. I think he's rattled at this point. Fleury has kept the Wild in it as well.
Fleury's doing Fleury things.
Yeah, but if you're talking team MVPs, your 4 right now are Kaprizov, Eriksson Ek, Fleury, and Faber, and not necessarily in that order. Do I think Faber should get the Calder at this point? I still say yes.
13 points behind.
But yes, that's something that we talked about when we had our debate. Was I said if he can get within 10 points of Bedard at the end of the year, it's his. Beyond that, yes, Bedard has 50 points. That's outstanding.
51.
That is a very I'm just saying milestone markers.
Right.
50 points, even numbers, zeros or fives. Those are always the ones you point.
His 20th goal and his 50th point came in the same game last night.
No, so again, good offensive numbers there. A forward is almost always going to put up better numbers than a defenseman.
Yep. It's that simple. It's that simple.
But looking at overall team impact, there's certainly a case to be made for Faber.
I'm not saying there's not a case to be made for Faber, but if we're looking at overall team impact, I gave you the numbers last time we argued about it. And since Bedard has been back, like I said, in those final 10, is it 10? Yeah. The final 10 games before he came back for the Hawks averaged 1 goal a game. They literally put up 1 goal every one of those 10 games. And when you span 11, I could have said 11. Actually, it was 10 in the 11 because one of those games out of those 11 was 0. And then the minute he came back, that average went straight up. I didn't do the math on the exact average, but the last couple games have already done it. We had 2 games in a row of putting up 7 goals, which was a season high the first game when we did it, and then last night when we did it again. The impact on the game and on the team that he has is the exact same as what yours is to what Faber's is to the Wild defensively, what Bedard's is to the team offensively.
All I'm saying is the Blackhawks are the second worst team in the league.
Damn it, we're second worst now? Fuck,
yeah.
San Jose fell behind.
Yeah, because congratulations, you scored 7 and you won, and now you're ahead of San Jose.
Hey, that's fine. I keep telling you, we're probably not going to get Max.
No, you're going to jump him again, and you're going to pick first overall, and you're going to get Celebrini.
Oh, God. Wait, it's music to my ears. Can you say that again?
No.
Can you say that again?
Hart Trophy. You would pick Jack Hughes.
We're moving on. Hey, now we're moving on. You're damn right I picked Jack Hughes, and I was going to be right if he didn't get injured.
So good before he got hurt.
Jack Hughes, had he not been injured at all, and I get it. Oh, no shit if you didn't get injured. If he didn't get injured at all, he was on pace to be right there in the discussion.
He was going to be in the mix with McKinnon. He was going to be in the mix with McDavid. I think, surprisingly at this point, McDavid, yes, he's the good pick. I think he is behind McKinnon and Kucherov at this point.
Well,
and possibly even behind Quinn Hughes.
Literally speaking, yes. And Quinn Hughes, it's tough. Like, we're talking about impact on the team. Like, Connor McDavid has been, as he has in the last couple playoff runs for the Oilers. This regular season, once they finally started picking their shit up, he has carried them on their back every single night, as he is just used to doing at this point.
I'm going to read some numbers here for you.
Math.
Nathan McKinnon, the favorite, minus 150.
Mm-hmm.
Connor McDavid is next, plus 410. Austin Matthews, plus 470. Nikita Kucherov, plus 500. Quinn Hughes, plus 5,500.
Whoa. Holy shit, what a drop. 5,000 in odds drop.
5,000.
Holy hell.
Not only that, but Quinn Hughes is tied with Pasta and with Connor Hellebuck in your Hart Trophy odds. If that does not show the massive amount of emphasis that these awards put on points compared to overall contribution to the team.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. Connor Hellebuck should be closer in the odds than plus 5,500. Quinn Hughes should be closer in the odds than plus 5,500.
Dude, I'm willing to put money on Quinn Hughes at plus 5,500 because
$5 on it at that price,
right? Why
Especially
not?
if they end up winning the Presidents,
right? Exactly.
You got a shot.
And actually, also even McDavid at plus 400. Like, okay,
a solid push down the stretch here.
Yeah,
there's some sneaky betting value there.
You take that right now. That'd be a pretty smart take. You never know.
Our cup matchups. We've rehashed New Jersey.
Oh no! Oh God!
We don't need to get into New Jersey.
Oh Jesus! I was way off.
We've talked about Edmonton, Dallas, and Carolina. We've not talked about Dallas enough on the show.
Or Carolina.
Dallas, amazingly, and we had both said in our Vezina that we were taking Jake Ottinger. Ottinger's been pretty bad for Dallas this season. A sub 900 save percentage, a goals against hovering around 3, only one shutout. But Dallas keeps finding ways to win games, and Wedgwood as a backup has been pretty darn good.
This would be considered his sophomore year, right?
Is it his sophomore year or is it his junior year? I'm pretty sure this is like year 3 of him really being the guy.
He wasn't the starter.
Because he had 48 2 years ago. He had 62 last year.
Got it. Okay, never mind.
So it's really year 3. Even year 4.
I was going to say sophomore slump, but never mind.
Yeah, not quite. So 4th season in the league, at 29 starts his rookie year, and he's only gone up from there.
Hey, I'm at a solid 50% right now in the cup of chances.
I think what we might be looking at with Ottinger too is like he played 62 games last season. He had all of the playoff games. They had the compressed schedule, so he had played all the playoff games the year before that when things were, the COVID crunch. So he played a lot of games in a short span of time. I think this regression was coming for a little while, but the bounce back is certainly going to be there. And if he finds his form come playoff time, like, they're a complete team. And I'm going to bring this up. I'm going to skip over a couple of our ones here that we talked about. But one of the things that we called was Logan Stankoven getting called up and making an immediate impact for Dallas.
Yeah, we knew that was coming.
We said from the get-go, like, if they get Stankoven for the playoffs, like, look out. This team can be a wagon. They went out and got Tanev at the deadline, added the depth defenseman that we said, hey, they might want to get one more depth defenseman here. They go get Tanev. That is a team poised for a deep playoff run, especially if they stay healthy. Dallas can get there. Carolina, same deal there. Can you be healthy, especially in goal? Freddie Anderson out with his medical condition, blood clots. So he was out for a while. Antti Ranta had been hurt. Peter Kochetkov, and we touched on this as well. He's really embraced that starting role.
He is currently in that same graphic I sent you. He was 3rd on the Calder voting list for NHL.com. So
yeah, I think he should be in the mix as well. And especially if he's
the mix over Brock Faber, that's for sure.
This is your warning.
What do you mean?
I mean, it's your warning. Give you 2 minutes for unsportsmanlike. We whiffed on Ovechkin's goals. Kaprizov over 42.5. That's probably pushing it at this point.
What's he at right now? 28?
Yeah, he's over 30. But he's far enough behind that I have doubts about him getting to 42, like to get to 43. Especially if Eriksson Ek is hurt and out for a while. Yeah, I could see that being a problem. Bedard, 30.5 goals. I said under, you said over.
It's close. I mean, he hit 20 with, do we also have 18 games left? I believe we do.
Chicago has 16 left.
16 games left.
So 10 goals in the final 11 to get over. 11 goals in the final 16 games.
Which is math. It's under a goal a game, obviously.
It is, but it's closer. It's closer to a goal every game than it is to a goal every 2.
I would agree.
And looking at down the stretch, the final 7 games: Dallas, Minnesota, St. Louis, Nashville, Carolina, Vegas, LA.
I actually would say that's not a big deal because he's been scoring goals against any team. It doesn't matter. Like Vegas put up his first home. He put up his first home goal against Vegas. I mean, he's scoring against any team. We're gonna lose those games, that's for sure. But he's scoring on those teams.
And then points, 68.5. So to get to 69.
Did I say over? I think I did.
You said over on both. And I said under on both, but I said when we set the line, and we talked about this for about 5 minutes on the preview show, just on the point total for Bedard. I said I thought he would get over 65, and then I said 68. And then we looked up what the number was, and it was 68.5. I do think he's going to be just barely under. But the fact that he is getting that close is pretty incredible.
There was a stat that we tweeted out. Not my personal one. He is 20 assists away from beating Patrick Kane's Blackhawks rookie assist record that he holds. It's going to be tough, but I mean, he's getting assists left and right because of just he's starting to get used to everything. His vision when he makes these passes, he's making Philip Kurashev look like an all-star. Philip Kurashev's a good player, don't get me wrong, but like he's just putting the pucks in the right spot. It doesn't have to be goals. He's getting a shit ton of assists. I'm going to say I'm still sticking with my over. I think he can get over 60. I think he can get to that 69. I think he can get to 70.
I'm still on the under. So that's probably, I think, our one that we're going to watch.
And here's the one thing we're forgetting to mention. Here's the one thing we're forgetting to mention too. It's this close. Despite it's this close when he missed 6 weeks.
He missed 6 weeks. He doesn't have Taylor Hall on his wing. He does not have Corey Perry on his wing, 2 guys that we thought, might be getting a lot of playing time with him and guys who are going to shoot the puck that he can set up. Which is fine because the chemistry between him and Philip Kurashev is chef's kiss right now. It's there.
I'm okay with it. And Nick Foligno. But yeah, dude.
Did you see Foligno's comment about how he's going to have to stay in Chicago for another 5 years after he retires because he's got that much more he wants to teach him?
Nick Foligno can stay here as long as he wants.
That man is going to end up retiring a Blackhawk.
And they'll probably offer him some sort of position in the front office, whatever it is, like something like what Brian Campbell has right now. So like this advisor,
I could see him being involved on player development. Yeah. You get him as your like assistant director of player development, or even just director outright. I don't know who holds that role now, so I don't want to
put him on the coaching staff. Like
I can see that.
That's fine by me. Like Derek King is awesome, but he's definitely not getting any younger. I mean, whenever he ends up retiring, scoot Foligno right in there. That'd be right around when he's retiring too from playing. But
if you had told me that Foligno was going to have the bigger impact on the team this year than Taylor Hall, I would have thought you were crazy.
And
knowing Foligno is a good guy. Yes, Taylor Hall being hurt. Foligno's impact on Bedard is so far ahead of what I think he could have gotten to with Taylor Hall.
He was the absolute best offseason addition we could have made just from a planning for the future perspective. And it's funny to say that about a guy who's 36,
something like that.
36, 35 maybe.
Definitely later in his career.
Yeah, so he's so awesome. But it can't be shortchanged. This whole over under 68.5, I would have already hit it by now if he wasn't out for 6 weeks.
I'm going to go to two more things here. One is going to be things we missed, and these are going to be our biggest whiffs from the preview show. And then we're going to do things we called, things that we absolutely nailed from the preview show.
Okay.
Erik Karlsson's point total. At the start of the year, that line was set at 90-plus points. It was plus 450. We talked about the betting value. Joel, your exact words were they're basically giving away money.
Yeah. That's what I said.
That one we're gonna take on the chin.
So yeah, that's
that was a big swing and a miss.
For everyone who doesn't know, they set it at 90. Dan, without looking, what does he currently sit at on the season?
It's on the screen.
Oh, do you have it on the screen?
I have it on the screen. He is currently at 44 points.
44.
So not even to half.
He can get 50 points in 16 games. If that happened, give him the Norris and the Hart at the same time.
Yep, because that probably means Pittsburgh is back in the playoff picture if he's putting up those kind of totals. Jake Ottinger for Vezina. Big swing and a miss on that one.
He's not even listed anymore.
He's not even listed at this point. And Ovechkin's goal total. I'll take this as my biggest miss. I said 50-goal season for Ovechkin this year was still in play. His line was at 40.5.
I think I remember I said that. I was like, 40 sounds good. I'll take the over on that. I didn't take the over on 50.
I don't. Do you have
by Price is Right rules? I win.
I guess. But you are still dramatically over because without looking, do you know how many goals he's at?
Yes. I want to say it's something hilariously low. It's like for his standards, isn't it? Like 18?
It is exactly 18.
Oh, let's go. I did not look that up. I promise you, I did not look that up.
18 exactly for Ovechkin this year. Quite the drop off there.
Yikes.
That one I'll wear and
I mean, we
eat the crow.
I said over 40, so that's still not much better.
Pass the Texas Pete.
What?
The hot sauce. Put it on the crow so I can eat the crow. Dab a little hot sauce on it.
Why are you eating a crow?
That's the metaphor for.
That can't be healthy. Like, you're gonna get salmonella if you eat the crow. Like,
Not took it right.
Nah, still don't think that's true.
Things we called. Nailed Logan Stankoven being an immediate impact player for Dallas. We had talked about Luke Hughes being in the Calder conversation.
He's first right now.
He's like fourth, which defensive metrics, terrible. Points, they're there. So he's up there.
Do you know who's behind? Do you know who's behind Luke Hughes on the NHL.com's ranking right now?
Like in terms of points or in terms of
the post, just for everybody out there that doesn't know what I'm talking about, NHL tweeted out NHL.com or NHL Network, one of the two. They tweeted out like their point system on their Calder voting, and it's like they have this survey for each player, and whatever they vote, it's up to 5 points and then as low as 1 point on like different categories for the Calder voting for them. And we mentioned it already. Bedard is at the top. He had 66 points based on all the voting and stuff. Brock Faber is second with 56 points. We mentioned Peter Kochetkov is third with 28 points. Luke Hughes is fourth with 23 points. And then they mentioned two other people right behind them that are receiving 9 or more points in their system or whatever. And one of them was Samuel Ersson. Ersson, like you said, he's actually at 9 exactly, who was fifth with 19 points on their Calder system.
Marco Rossi.
Correct. So see, I don't want to hear any bitching when Brock Faber doesn't win the Calder, because you have two players that are in the top 5. That's pretty awesome. When's the last time that happened?
For the Wild, never. In fact, I don't
know for any team.
I'd have to do some looking on that. I was going to say other than Kirill Kaprizov, I don't think the Wild have ever had a player in the top 3 of Calder voting outside of him, and he won it. So
I'm still salty that Saad didn't win it over Huberdeau in 2013. 2012. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say I'm a little surprised Dmitry Voronkov for the Blue Jackets isn't getting some more love in that regard because he is tied with Marco Rossi with 17 goals on the season. So he's creeping his way up there. Well, Blue Jackets way further down in the standings, so like that's a factor.
I think their voting has more than just points, and that's it. And there's a lot of other factors in there.
I hope there's more factors than just points. Otherwise, just give it to Bedard right now.
Well, they already did.
Yeah, pretty much. And then Patrick Kane to Detroit. I had that one. You were thinking they were going to Buffalo.
I was between Buffalo and Detroit, and I wanted to be fun and say Buffalo, but I off camera. So obviously, I'm not going to say I was dead right. Like, let's go. I called it. Joel Stradamus. I didn't, but off camera, I did say I think you said he lands in Detroit.
I said he was going to go there. We also had Joey mention Carolina, and Carolina was in the conversation.
They were in the mix
for a while. So
was Dallas.
That one was a little weird to me. I was like, that's not a fit.
Vegas too. Vegas was in the mix as well.
Vegas is in the mix for everybody.
That's true. And Patrick Kane has been phenomenal in Detroit. So Dan, I want to hear he's washed? He's washed, right? I want to hear it not from you.
Number 2.
Is Patrick Kane washed? Yeah, is he? In fact, you know what? Hold on. No, I'm gonna keep this rant rolling for another 30 seconds, and I'm gonna tell you how washed he is. He joined the Red Wings very late into the season. When did he join? It was January.
It was December.
December. Thank you. He is already at 32 points on the season, 13 goals, 19 assists. Yeah, he's washed. Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry, that's 13 goals and 19 assists in 34 games played. 32 points in 34 games. Yep, he's washed. He's washed, Dan. He's washed.
Pick segment. Joel, we each went 1 and 2 last week. The Buffalo Sabres let me down, or I should say the Ottawa Senators let me down against the Buffalo Sabres.
Jack chiming in. What's up, Jack?
Hey, what's up, Jack?
You're damn right. Thank you for the Kane shout out.
I'm trying to remember what the other one was that I had. It was the Avalanche and Detroit. I had the Avs on the puck line. You had Detroit. Avs covered. And then we both whiffed on the Maple Leafs, which we said was going to happen. We said if we both take the Leafs, they're going to lose. So naturally, to embrace the putting bad juju on the Leafs, make them bad, we both took Toronto. We both paid the price for it.
Yes, we did.
You see the season totals there.
Dan, why do you suck so much at betting?
You know what? You're out of here. Go. You're gone.
You ejecting me from the podcast?
Yep, ejected. You're gone.
Not leaving. You're gone. I'm not getting. No, I ain't going anywhere. I'm not getting off my chair.
I gave you the 2 and the 10. You're gone.
No, fuck you.
Leave.
No, I'm not. No, I need more explanation than that.
Leave.
Just because your butt hurt doesn't mean I get ejected from the podcast.
Leave.
So anyway, speaking of
for those who didn't know, for those who didn't get the bit,
good old John Tortorella. I just did my best John Tortorella impression.
Because Torts got thrown out, but he didn't leave the bench. Joel got thrown out. He's not leaving the bench.
Nope,
Dan and Mark show next week. Yeah, we'll do that while Joel serves his 2 podcast suspension and his $50,000 fine.
Whoa! Can I? Well, for Torts, that's chump change. But can we just say how soft that call was? And I love Wes McCauley, so I don't know what the hell is going on there with. But you don't.
The most frustrating part is that all we see is Torts' side of it. We see him not leaving. We have no idea what was said. We see questionable call. We see
right.
A 4-0 hockey game at that point.
Yep.
In the first period, he's pissed. He's trying to get his team going.
Yep.
And then they had a play where they had a tripping call. Originally, they called it on Tampa Bay, and then they changed it to being a tripping call on Philadelphia. It was just the icing on the cake. And was Torts maybe looking for a quick hook there? Sure. Was he looking to use that to motivate his team? Probably. But
yeah,
that we're only getting to hear and see that side of it, and that we still don't have even just a pool reporter who can go talk to the referees after the game, get an explanation of the call, say, hey, what was said, even if it's not the explicit version of what was said, even just a, hey, he MF'd me, and after getting so many calls, like that was enough. There needs to be a little more accountability and transparency there that it looks bad now.
Yeah, it does. I love that he stood his ground. It was so good. It was so good.
So the Flyers without Torts tomorrow night, hosting the Toronto Maple Leafs. Joel, I can't believe I'm doing this after they burned me last week. I'm taking the Leafs again. What are you doing here?
That's fine. I'm taking the home dog. Screw the Leafs. Give me the Flyers.
The New York Rangers and the Tampa Bay Lightning. This game is at even money each way.
Yeah, okay. Hey, Siri, flip a coin.
Yeah, pretty much. Both of these teams, I not solidly in the playoff picture, but playoff started today. They're in. Rangers first in the Metro. Yeah, Tampa Bay starting to kind of put some things back together here after the deadline. And of course, Tampa Bay at home this year, 29-4 at home.
It's funny though, because the Rangers on the road are 20-10-4, so it's dead even.
It's literally one more game.
Yeah.
Very little to separate those teams by the odds. There's always a little extra juice that goes to the home team. Joel, I'm taking the Rangers here. Are you riding with the home team once again?
Nope, I am riding. I'm taking the Rangers as well. I'm going to take the away team here.
Oh, okay.
I haven't bet against the Rangers much this season, and I'm going to continue that because for the most part, they haven't really screwed me when I do that. Not going to.
Jack's
Rangers,
with us.
Jack jumping on the Rangers. Yeah, it's a consensus. Mark, this one's for you.
Boston Bruins -1.5, +104 at the Canadiens, +1.5, -125. I'm locking in Boston.
Oh, hell yeah. I'm absolutely marking in Boston -1.5. Are you kidding me? Come on.
Even with losses in 6 of their last 10 games, they've picked up points in 8 of the last 10. 4 overtime losses in their last 10 games. It's frustrating. This is a Boston team that chip on their shoulder and trying to steal that number 1 spot in the Atlantic from the Panthers. The first tiebreaker, if it comes down to this at the end of the season, is regulation wins. Boston really needs to rack those up if they're going to catch and get the tie here. They need a convincing win against Montreal.
Absolutely.
I think they get it.
I think they get it. They are one team who we really can't make fun of for playing down to the competition. They come out swinging no matter how bad or good you are. They come out swinging no matter where you're at in the standings. Yeah, sometimes the job doesn't get done, but that's just the name of the game. Hockey's dumb sometimes. They are not a team like the Leafs that, almost always lose to the teams they're supposed to beat.
Leafs lose to a bad team, and it's funny. Bruins lose to a bad team, and it's like, whoa, what happened?
Like, what?
Is everything okay? Are you guys good?
Yeah, they're light. There's a fire getting lit under their ass. Apparently, that needs to. So yeah, no, we're both on the Bruins. Absolutely, I just squeaked. I'm on the Rangers, and you're on. Oh, we're both on.
We're both on the Rangers.
Both on the Rangers, both on the Bruins, -1.5. And then Dan is taking the Leafs because he hates himself. And I am taking the home dog in the Flyers because Team Torts, even though he's suspended.
If Torts is coaching, yeah.
It was 2 games, right?
Yeah, 2-game suspension.
How many have they played since?
I thought it was just the one.
Was it just the one then? Okay, so he will.
Give me a second to confirm that, because if he's playing,
if he comes tomorrow night,
if he's coaching, oh boy,
if he comes back tomorrow night, double it down on this.
Yeah. Okay. So it is just the one that they played so far. They just had San Jose, so he's still out. Oh, and guess what? He gets to come back, and they play at Boston.
Oh, Mark. There's a
Enjoy
game
that.
for you.
Mateo. Yeah, exactly.
Bruins lose to a bad team, and then you plan a funeral for their next opponent.
Pretty much.
Literally. Also, Bedard is a -36, can't win a Calder with your stat line. Oh my gosh. I know Mateo is just trolling because we know Mateo and we like to have some fun. But there are people that legitimately put weight into the plus-minus category in general, let alone in the Calder race. And those people need their Twitter credentials revoked because that's hilariously stupid.
The only time plus-minus matters is when it is to one extreme or the other. The plus leader, you are not going to guess.
Who the plus-minus leader in the league is?
Yep.
Give me the division, and I'll try and guess.
It is the Atlantic Division.
I'm gonna try. I'll guess the team. I'm gonna say the plus-minus leader is on the Rangers.
Panthers.
I was gonna guess that too. Damn it! I second guessed myself.
Also, Rangers are the Metro.
Oh, duh! I'm sorry. I was looking at it wrong. Yeah, you said Atlantic. I didn't think about that. Sorry. Yeah, so I should have said Florida.
It is Gustav Forsling at a +48. Next is Quinn Hughes +36.
I love that for the former Blackhawk. I loved Gustav Forsling when he was here.
The worst minus in the league.
I mean, it's somebody on our team, that's for damn sure, right? Right? Somebody on the Hawks? Or is it somebody on the Sharks? It is?
The worst on the Sharks is third worst. There are two Blackhawks who are worse.
It's tough because not everybody's played all the games. Wait, Mateo's got a good point. I'm actually going to go with Kurashev. No.
What? It is Kurashev is the worst, and then Bedard.
Yeah.
So you talk about all the missed time, and he's still a -36.
Yeah.
Kurashev has at least played 7 more games, and he's only a -2 worse.
Yeah, so what? They're on the worst team in the league. Or one of the worst.
Not to mention on the ice for 51 points, and you're still a -36. Zero defensive upside to his game right now.
Oh, no. An 18-year-old forward needs to get better at defense. You know who they said that about?
I'm not saying that's an exclusive problem to him. I'm saying he is so far behind defensively.
Yeah, because
anybody else was at that point.
Because he's on a shit team.
The numbers don't lie.
The numbers don't lie. Yeah,
62% of his starts are in the offensive zone.
Okay.
They don't put him on the ice if they have a defensive zone faceoff because they know they're going to get scored on.
Okay, yeah, it's not his fault half the time either. Like, it's not his fault half the time. Bedard is all about high event hockey. He's just looking out for the fans. Damn right. Damn right. And you know what? I don't want to hear it, Dan. A plus, and it's in here. Yeah. Plus minus is a terrible stat. It's fun to have, but it's stupid.
Terrible until you show the extremes. And the extreme is
there's going to be an extreme. Hey, Dan, I got.
That's what we've said for years on this show about plus minus.
I want to give you something here. You know who else was an 18-year-old first overall pick that needed to get better at defense?
Literally everyone.
Yeah, and one of them that everyone tried to throw it in our face that, oh yeah, well, his defensive upside sucks. Really? He won 3 Stanley Cups and a Conn Smythe, and his name is Patrick Kane. Who fucking cares about plus minus, especially for an 18-year-old forward?
If the only thing you are looking at is points, it's Bedard. If you are looking at body of work as a whole,
it's still Bedard.
It gets a lot closer.
It does get a lot closer, but it's still Bedard. Also, yes, Mark. Forsling, I believe we drafted him, if I'm not mistaken. And if we didn't draft him, we got him via some minor league type of minor trade at some point, and he played. Oh, was he on the 2015 Cup team?
Was drafted in 2014 by the Vancouver Canucks.
Oh, yes, he was in the yes. There was the trade we made with Vancouver. I can't remember exactly what it was, but yeah. And he was absolutely on the 2015 Cup team. Yeah. Oh, Mateo. The only reason Wild fans are going nuts today is because Brock Faber had his most dominant game in a week last night against the Heat. Oh, I mean, that's kind of cool how that matches up with how Bedard had his most dominant game last night against the Ducks. Crazy how that happens.
I mean, a 5-point night against John Gibson. He has not been good lately. Like,
he's got no. Don't you start knocking John
Gibson. Okay, here's the other thing though, and I'm going to throw this at Wild fans, and this is something Wild fans have to realize. The last time the Wild played the Ducks, they scored 3. Connor Bedard on his own contributed to 5 goals.
Yep.
Don't like it, play better. There is that.
I mean, you're right.
Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, but all right. So that was we had to clean up the comment section. That was and speaking of the Panthers, how are they going to bring back Montour and Reinhart this offseason?
I thought they already extended Montour. Give me a second to hit up Cat Friendly and confirm that. Nope, I take that back. They did not extend him yet. Forsling is the one that they extended.
I love
so yeah, that's I mean, and you talk about that. Let me throw these names out at you. All of these players are unrestricted free agents playing for the Florida Panthers going into next season. Sam Reinhart, Kyle Okposo, Vladimir Tarasenko, Nick Cousins, Steven Lorentz, Kevin Stenlund, Brian Lomberg, Brandon Montour, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, Dmitry Kulikov, Anthony Stolarz.
Holy shit.
Those are all the unrestricted. And then you get into restricted free agents, they are cup or bust.
Yeah. And right now it's looking pretty good.
Yeah. They, as of right now, estimated salary expenditure, $70 million. Projected cap space going into the offseason is $21.5 million with that many roster spots to fill. They are going to have a offseason.
Mark's already making free agent moves. Oh my God, Montour as a Bruin. Mark, shut up.
Oh, I love it when the chat gets going.
Oh, hell yeah, that's great. Well, I think that's pretty much it. We did pretty good, man. For a week where not much is really happening around the league.
We didn't have a ton of news, but
no, I mean, originally it was let's see how the trade deadline fallout is, but really,
we covered a lot of that on Friday.
Middlestat just scored his first goal. With why am I blanking? Where he went?
Colorado.
He scored that. I think it was tonight. Yeah. And then Tarasenko in his first game as a Panther gets a goal. I think he got the game winner too, didn't he?
Can we talk about for 2 seconds here how absolutely dire the situation is for the Sharks that they were willing to retain Tomas Hertl's contract for another 6 years? 6 years of salary retention.
We talked about
Hertl, who probably their best player at this point.
Probably, absolutely.
I mean, you could make the case that everybody being healthy, Logan Couture. Healthy.
Funny. Yeah, I mean,
but it's Hertl. And they move their best player and retain money for 6 years. Even still, the total amount retained. Okay, so they are paying $5.6 million this year in dead cap to Hertl, Brent Burns, and Erik Karlsson.
They're still paying Brent Burns.
Yes.
And Erik Karlsson.
And they will still be paying Burns next year as well.
They're doing their best Minnesota Wild impression.
Pretty much. They've got 2 more years of Brent Burns dead cap. They have 4 more years of Erik Karlsson dead cap. This is including this year. 6 for Thomas Hertl. 4 more years on the Martin Jones buyout. And then another $300,000 this year on the Rudolph Balcers buyout.
Well,
I don't understand what San Jose is doing. And the problem is it's not working out. They're going to be really bad for the next 3 years at least.
Yeah.
It's getting ugly.
Yeah. They really should get Macklin Celebrini.
They won't. Go to Chicago. There you go. I said it your second time. Next show is going to be next Tuesday, March 19th. That'll be at 8 o'clock p.m. More than likely a shorter show than what we had tonight. Because the next day I will be leaving for USPHL Nationals.
Nice.
So be part of the broadcast team for that. So that's gonna be fun. But yeah, Tuesday, March 19th, 8 o'clock p.m., 7 Central is the showtime there.
Dan, you got a question real quick.
What other socials am I on? Well, I'm not on Twitter, and not going to be on TikTok too much longer either. So hey-o.
You're on Facebook. Oh God! Wait, why aren't you going to be on? Oh, right. Yeah. Remember when
not to be illegal?
Remember when I teased that Snipe Celly was going to to TikTok? You never mind.
Yeah, that idea is basically dead at this point.
My bad.
I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn, and I'm on Instagram, and I'm already thinking about getting rid of 2 of those.
Yeah, Instagram's still kind of fun. Also,
yeah, but that's where everybody from TikTok is going to go.
So,
unless they shut it down.
Mateo does have a good point. He brought this. Him and I talked about this on Twitter, and he's got one point. If the Hawks get Macklin Celebrini, it means they can't get Higgins or McKenna.
Yeah, but they're getting Macklin.
We might. I'm also buying myself into getting because I don't know. I'm still skeptical, even though I say we're going to get Macklin. I don't know if the balls are going to fall our way this year, but I'm buying into we definitely will get second or third, and I'm buying myself into getting Lev Shunov. Right? I'm saying his name.
Lev Shunov.
Lev Shunov. Yeah.
Yeah, the defenseman from Michigan State.
Yeah, I'm kind of starting to sell myself.
That guy's going to be so damn good.
As opposed to I remember I was trying to sell myself on. I was like, oh, Cole Eiserman, perfect. Nah, I think I'm on Lev Shunov here.
I'm on Tankathon. I'm gonna hit Sim Lottery.
Just once. All right, hold on. You do it. I'm gonna do it too. We'll end the show on a Tankathon.
Okay, let me know when you've got it up.
Okay, hold on.
Tankathon.com/NHL/mock_.
I know.
He's been sitting on it for 2 years now. He knows that site.
It's true. It's in my bookmarks.
I'm just saying it for anybody else who wants to check it out. All right, do you ready to have it up?
Yep, you go ahead.
And lottery on 3. 1, 2, 3.
See? Ended up with second. And Montreal moved up 6 spots to take Macklin Celebrini.
The Pittsburgh Penguins moved up 8 spots to go to number 2. The Chicago Blackhawks moved up 1 spot to get Celebrini.
Let's go.
I'm telling you, it's what's going to happen.
And my second sim still has us in second, and Anaheim gets Macklin. My third sim has us moving down to 3.
That's it. We're done. Thank you to everybody who tuned in throughout the show tonight. As you can see on the scrolling bar on the bottom of the screen, be sure to like, subscribe, and follow at Snipe Celly on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Give us a like, give us a 5-star rating. We like to think of ourselves as a 5-star podcast with a 5-star audience. That is it for tonight's show. Joel, anything you want to leave the people with?
Thank you again. We got 24 people watching right now. It's been steady at around 20.
Still watching this absolute nonsense.
You guys are amazing, and it's growing, and we're getting bigger. Mark, you're a huge part of that for sharing our stuff along your socials. We will do the same for you when you need us to.
Mark, Mateo, awesome. Joey.
Mark, Mateo, Joey. We had Isha for a bit. Jack jumped in. Life is
had
good.
A ton of support tonight. So thank you everybody tuning in.
Our fans are fucking awesome. Yeah. The explicit tag was needed for that one, but hey, that's the way to talk about our fans. Also, the other thing with 24 people watching, I only see 3 likes, at least on Facebook. I'm sorry. That's probably
that is YouTube included.
Right, but there's no Twitter included. Give us some likes on Twitter.
Yeah, that's true. Help us out, hit the like, and we can keep doing this even more. So,
absolutely.
That's it for tonight. He's Joel. I'm Dan. Enjoy yourselves, everybody.